everyone, welcome back to Books and Bonnets. Although this was took longer to read than it should have. Finally got through Kevin Hart's I Can't Make This Up. The beginning this is non-spoiler review. Would I recommend adults read it? I mean, it's a funny read, and it has some good points in it. So yeah, I would recommend it to read. I give it about 3 stars. Basically, it's his life from childhood to where he is now as being an actor and, a comedian and things like that, and how, basically every famous person's journey. They come from humble beginnings and then they work really hard and then become successful, and how you go through a lot of no's to get a yes, and that kind of thing. So that's pretty much what this book talks about. I think I will buy this book and put it in my collection just to reread a few parts in it, because I did find some parts really inspirational. Like, okay, so there was one on page 160, and what he says is, no, maybe it wasn't 160. Give me 30 seconds. I had my finger on it. I had my finger on the button, and then I lost the page. It was 158. He said that when it comes to your future, your mother may be telling you the exact thing that you need to hear, but putting it in a way that makes you disregard her. And it made me think of my kids. Because sometimes I tell them things and I try to guide them for future, later on down the line things. And, sometimes it's in one ear and out the other. And you hope that something sticks. And that just, I don't know, I just relate to that particular statement, because it's like, I get it. I get it from his mom's perspective. But then he also goes on to say, that your friend 2 doors down the street says the same thing, but it comes off so simple and helpful, so you pay attention and you take action. And I couldn't tell you how many times that I have said something to my kids, especially my oldest 2, and they're just dismissive. I mean, they're respectful, don't get me wrong. I'm still their mother, and I will still, their head would go all the way around if they were disrespectful. But I still see that they're not listening to me. And then later on they'll be like, oh, well, my teacher said this and it made so much sense. And I'm like, I said that like a year ago, but okay, I'm glad it makes sense to you now. Or I'll be like, I said that last week. Yeah, but they just said it differently. It's like, oh, okay. Not. But as long as they're getting the message, that's all that matters. To me, anyway. I mean, sometimes would I like them to listen to me? Yes. But sometimes kids have to find their own way. So I really appreciated that he actually took note of that as an adult and realized that his mama was trying to teach him some life lessons, and he was rejecting them in all turns. But then his friends would say something, and then he took his friend's advice. And I'm glad as an adult he was able to, and especially as a famous person, able to admit, that about himself. It's personal growth. I love when I read anything, whether it be nonfiction or fiction, that has personal growth in it. And you can definitely see from when he was a kid to when he is an adult now, his growth. You actually get to see the growth process happening. And that's why I kind of like autobiographies, is because you physically see the growth happening. They go from being young to, you know, being a struggling artist or actor or whatever, and musician, comedian, to they become the next Kevin Hart's or Eddie Murphy's or George Carlin's or Jerry Seinfeld's, you know. They are big names and they're household names now, but they started off as, who was that? You know, who even is that? So it's nice to see books that have personal growth, and it's also nice to see books where they don't give up. And he even talks about that. And that's on page 161. The quote in here, it says, "The biggest difference between the amateur and the professional, between the wannabe and the star, between the dabbler and the expert, the unsuccessful get halfway to the finish line, then turn around. The successful get halfway, then keep going. Both run the same distance, but only one makes it to the finish line." How true is that in our life? That we watch people and they'll work for something, and then it becomes too hard, so they quit, you know, and they give up. But then you see people who are working and working and working, and it becomes too hard, and they just push through and they keep going. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. So just on those two quotes alone is a reason for me to own this book. Would I recommend you go out, run out right now and get it? No. I mean, if you have a library, I think that, I'm sure most of us do, I would try seeing if your library has it first and give it a read and see if it's something that personally you would like to own. I probably am going to own it because, one, I want to own more autobiographies, and two, there's a bunch more quotes in here that speak to me and that make sense to me, and I can see it from a bunch of different perspectives. And it made me think a little bit about my own childhood and about growing up, and how sometimes I didn't listen to my mama, but now I call my mom and I'm like, "Mom, I'm so sorry." Because I got kids now, and anytime they do something that I remember doing as a kid, I will call my mom and I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I did this." And my mom just laughs and laughs and laughs. Because it's funny. Because the older we get, the more we turn into like our parents. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just funny that you spend most of your adult life apologizing to your parents because you realize what you put them through, because your kids are now putting you through the same thing. And it's funny because I know when they grow up and they have kids of their own, they're going to be calling me and apologizing and being like, "Mom, I'm so sorry." And I'll just have to laugh and be like, we've all been there. We've all had those kinds of times. We've all had those kinds of days. We've all had those kinds of everything. And it is just, hang on, I may have a visitor. Come here, Kayla. And I have a visitor. This is Kayla. And she does not know how to get on a bed without knocking a camera off. And all that other great stuff. So, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm going to try to put out videos on Sunday and Thursdays. I was thinking about doing a review on Sundays and maybe doing a tag on Thursdays, or something book related but not a review. Maybe books I want to read or books I don't want to read, or maybe a tag or just something like that. So from Kayla and she's such a puppy. From Kayla and I, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our video. And until next time, thanks for watching Books and Bonnets. Have a good one.